Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been a while, but we are back, suited and booted, for another highly anticipated episode of the Swaggy Sports Podcast, where we have some
Be
of our
back.
strongest soldiers, some of our top earners in the chat tonight. Mr. Taj de France and Mr. Anthony Sassini. Glad to have you
Pleasure.
as always, as always. Happy Halloween to you and yours and those who celebrate. I want to start the show off with a little, State of the Union. It's been a while, so I feel like we all have some things to get off our chest as far as what we've seen, what we've heard so far this 2024-2025 season. I leave the floor to Mr. Taji, your State of the Union, your Swag of the Union address as we head into this Week 9 NFL season. Talk to me.
I have one thing to say. Put some respect on my quarterback's name. Eagles fans, rest of the league, put some respect on my quarterback's name. That's all I got to say. He's balling. He's been balling. If you don't trust him since the Super Bowl, I'll play Pat Mahomes. He put the team on his back. You need to play. He making a play. Put some respect on his name. Everybody talking all year. I don't want to hear it. Just watch
You
the
don't think
play.
WP is doubling back to the link for revenge?
Nobody coming back's bad ever since Dougie P's been there. I ain't worried about him. I love Dougie P. That's my
Everybody's
coach right there.
bad.
Forget Andy Reid.
That's a strong statement.
That's a strong. I was about to say, yeah. There's no doubt about that. That's a strong statement. I feel like within the past 2 weeks, the Eagles have started to show what they're supposed to have looked like throughout the whole year. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
I do think you guys are gonna find your way. I mean, Saquon's killing it. The stats are good with him. Obviously, he had that one bad play that ultimately I would say cost you that one game. But other than that, you guys are playing good ball.
We should be. We're sitting at 6-1 if Saquon doesn't drop the ball. That's all I gotta say. Nobody's saying anything about the Eagles if we don't have a loss to the Falcons.
I don't disagree.
I hear you. Chi, it's been a while.
Been a
Talk the
minute.
swag of the Union address. What do the people
Swaggy
need to know?
Union. The Bills got to win this week. You can't drop one to the Finns. We just got Tua back. That's a backbreaker. I think the Ravens have a test against the Broncos. Bo Nix is playing good ball. The Ravens have been horrible against the pass game all year long. I think he's going to be able to move the ball. And I didn't know the Ravens were only 5-3. They're losing games.
As far as the Ravens looking vulnerable at 5-3, the Ravens defense isn't looking like the Ravens defenses we usually know and love. It's always divisional games are always tough. You can't deny that, but you got to walk out of Cleveland with a W. That was a crazy loss. You can't afford losses like those because divisional losses count as two. Everybody knows that.
Your ball players got to make plays. They got to catch the ball. You mean Kyle Hamilton catches the ball, the game's over. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip of Zay Flowers telling Hamilton about how shitty his hands were?
I did. I actually did, bro. They're sitting on the plane.
Yeah.
And Zay's telling Hamilton, like, bro, you just don't go for catches, you just go for the hits. He's just like, I just go for licks. The week before, bro. So that is crazy. That is a good thing to mention. That was wild.
And Jameis literally dropped the one in the breadbasket. He didn't want it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I do like the trade for Deontay Johnson, Ravens type of receiver. You know what I mean? As far as just good at route running, doesn't need that big of a check, little mid-tier, gets the job done. I think it'll help them out. I've always, my biggest argument when it comes with the Ravens, especially since Lamar's been there, is does he have ample weaponry around him for him to succeed? I think we saw that last year with a healthy OBJ. Obviously, they bring in the Last King. That tandem is ridiculous right now. He's on pace for 2 bans. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But to bring in Johnson to that wide receiver room, I think it only helps the Ravens. So hopefully they can get a bounce back next week.
Especially for a 6th-round pick. Like, they stole it.
Yeah. That's a fleece. Couple more days left till trade deadline as well. Who knows? we saw Cooper Kupp in the talks, but I think with Thursday night's wins or whatever primetime game it was, I don't think they're going to be shipping Cooper Kupp out of LA anytime soon. They can compete, you know. They can
And
compete.
my sources just hit me up saying Puka Nacua hurt his knee at practice today, so we'll see if he's
Really?
play. Yeah, say he's questionable for the game.
Wow. Wow.
That might be like the Devontae Adams hamstring.
It could be.
Oh no. That would be crazy, bro. But that leads into our main topic of conversation, where I kind of wanted to get our thoughts on the leaders in each division right now in week 9 and whether or not we think they're clearly leading their respective division, whether or not they're standing out compared to the second and third place teams fighting to stay in the wild card race, and whether or not we think there's a gap between that 1 and 2, that 2 and 3, and whether or not there's a division up for grabs. I think it'll be a good conversation. Let's see how it goes. Let's start with the AFC East. I feel like with the Buffalo Bills at 6-2, Josh Allen looking like a great MVP candidate right now. Only one interception on this season, I believe. Just had it in the rain in Seattle. Still got the win though. Great win. Which I mean, we can get to the NFC, but Gino was saying that the 12th man was feeling like an away game last Sunday, which is crazy to say. And
Yeah, that's heavy.
Heavy.
That's heavy. Right off getting his own day in Miami.
Yeah.
He says the 12th man are acting like they used to. I mean, I don't know, because he's not an outspoken guy in the media. You don't see him really saying anything but positive things and thoughts to the media. So I guess if he's saying that, I mean, I hope the fan base takes this sincere.
Yeah.
But for the most part, because that's what Gino is.
There's no doubt about that. But when it comes to the Bills, obviously, I like bringing over Amari Cooper. They bring over Amari Cooper. He had a silent game last week, but Keon Coleman is looking great. He's looking great. Making great contested catches. He's sliding. Had a great game last week. Do we think that the Dolphins can turn it around, Chi? I mean, obviously, we're in the second week with Tua coming back. The offense did look good, but they didn't finish the game last week against the Cardinals. Do you think that the Dolphins have a chance to get back into the mix this division, or what?
I mean, I would just say historically, they always are somewhere around 500 after starting out really bad for whatever the reason is. I think they try to make a push this year just because of how poorly the division's performing overall. You know, the Jets and Patriots both also stink really bad. So in the event you're able to put a couple games together, you might be in contention.
Right.
I think they can do it. It's just a question of do they.
Yeah. When it comes to the Jets, I can't put my finger on it. They play very soon. Well, they're about to tip off right now. We'll see how that goes. They're favored to win tonight, which I found very interesting. I mean, obviously the Texans, they're depleted in the wide receiver room, but the fact that they were I think it was -3 the last I saw. I thought that was interesting. But Taji, what do you think when it comes to the Jets? They bring over Devontae for Mr. Discount Double Check, but Mr. Discount Double Check ain't looking like Mr. Discount Double Check. What do you think they can do to kind of make something shake out of this season? Obviously, because they ain't getting any younger over there at QB1.
In my opinion, the Jets largely threw their season away when they fired their head coach midway through. They had a bad quarterback for the whole time he's been there. They finally got a good one, and his defense isn't playing to the strength that they usually do. So they fire the head coach and promote the defensive coordinator to head coach. To me, that makes no sense. It's not going to fix your problem. Aaron's got to play better. Aaron's got to play like Aaron Rodgers. Simple as that. That's how you fix this season. Sauce Gardner's got to play like Sauce Gardner. He's not playing like that well. None of them they seem they don't have an identity. They seem they're distracted. I don't know what the problem for the Jets is, but if Aaron Rodgers can resemble himself in any way, they should win games. Yeah. That's what I think. That's the only thing fixing them. I mean, Lazard just went out to IR, but they still got Garrett Wilson. They still got Devontae Adams. Somebody has to want to be a baller, and they'll win games. But to me, they're too far gone in their division. every team in that division other than the Bills has 2 wins.
Right.
That's pretty bad. The Bills sitting at 6-2?
Yep.
6-1.
6-2.
Yeah.
6-2.
6-2.
Yeah.
They're running away with that division. No one's going to come back. No one's close enough. Josh Allen's playing too good at football right now, and the Bills have an identity.
What do you think about it, Chi? Any 2 cents as far as the Jets are concerned, or you feel
Yeah, I just think it's interesting going back to Taj's earlier point. The whole reason they fire Salah, at least from what I've seen in the media, is because he at some level affected what their identity should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going on 2 or 3 weeks, and whatever this new regime is, and it's the same football. And to your earlier point, they haven't had QB play in ages. And you finally get a viable option in New York, and you don't give them more than 3 or 4 games. Yeah. It's the first time in 25 years that Woody Allen fires a head coach during the year. For what?
Without consulting anyone else in the building.
Nobody.
Right.
Probably A-Rod.
It was probably some ayahuasca or something right then.
Straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all hit it on the nail. There's not too much more I could say as far as that is concerned. I feel for Jets fans that we all know and love around the world. We all have some in our lives, you know. It's hard. But hopefully they can figure something out, because like I said, Aaron isn't getting any younger, and they put the crib on him, you know, and he's not performing. So, and he knows that, and I think he ain't gonna go out sad. I don't think he's that type of dude. So we'll see what happens. Patriots, we can keep it short. Drake may concussion, I think, as soon as they put him back into the mix. Jacoby's gonna have to make something out of nothing, but we'll see how that goes. AFC West. Now, obviously, we have the returning Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, sitting at 7-0. I think you two would both agree that although they're 7-0, they could look a lot better than what they've done thus far. A lot better. But you have the Broncos, surprisingly, I would say, sitting at 5-3 right now. Bo Nix he's balling. Bo Nix is balling. We talked about it earlier today off the camera. I do think it's fair to assume that had not we had a miracle in Landover a couple nights ago, Bo Nix probably would have brought over that Rookie of the Week. He had a great game. Last week against the Saints, I believe. It was valid, and I think it's worth a conversation. Obviously, I don't think they can win the division, but do you think, Taj, could they sneak into a wild card spot? Can they keep it up? I think it's worth a conversation.
I have more faith in the Chargers making a real push at a wild card spot than I would have Bo Nix leading the Broncos. I mean, I respect the game that he's playing so far, but I don't know that I'm a believer in Bo Nix necessarily. And in the whole AFC, this is my take. I got really no respect for these AFC divisions. They're all ran away with. They're not interesting. The only one, of course, that is interesting is the North, as always, which is up for the rest of these divisions. The Texans are clearly the best team in their division. They're going to run away with it. The Chiefs, they got the Brady wave where, I can just run through my division every year and steal this thing and get a walk in the park to the playoffs every time, which is a joke. Every AFC division, in my opinion, other than the North, is not even worth talking about in this conversation. They're all ran away with by now. It's over for the rest of the teams in their division. And the Broncos, I got more faith in Harbaugh and Herbert, which you know how I feel about Herbert, to make a run than they are. Which I think Herbo is Tony Romo. He can't win. He gets all this respect. I don't understand why, but I got more faith in him than Bo Nix and Sean Payton.
It sounds like we needed that to be the swag of the union, Taji, before anything.
I had to talk about Jalen Hurts in my swag of the union, of course.
I care about
my Hurts, but the AFC is a joke.
Okay. Let them know how you feel. Chi, I feel like the Ravens have something to say about that, sitting at 5-3 in the AFC North. The Steelers can't hold on to that, right? No way. What about the Colts? They bringing in Flacco. They think they can make something shake with Flacco, which is all. I think that might be a whole other podcast conversation. You know what I mean when it comes to that in Indianapolis. But gee, what do you think about that? The Ravens, the Colts. Do the Bengals flip something around? Burrow said if we get 7 out of 9, we shake it. That's what he said.
We broke the Bengals. They're done.
That was a tough loss for them.
That was tough. But
I mean, the Bengals always start out bad, and they always find a way to get in. And then once they're in the dance, I mean, it's tough to bet against Joe Burrow. I honestly, maybe I'm overvaluing the acquisition of Deontay Johnson in Baltimore, but I think he's a really good receiver. Like, far beyond a 6th-round pick or what he did in Carolina. I mean, you had Andy Dalton and Bryce Young, and no offensive line or defense or, you know what I mean? They're never in a game. Yeah. But I would say the Broncos would have a much better chance of competing, but, I mean, call me a hater, but the way the Chiefs win games are just ridiculous, and it's almost every week. Like, that team could very easily be 2-5. You know, they're finding ways to do it at the end, and, you know, to your Patriots comparison, Taj, like, yes, it's comparable. I just hate it. But I mean, other than that, in the AFC, I think if the Colts would have just rode with Joe Flacco, low-key, that they'd be in a better position. I don't know how you don't play Anthony Richardson, but based on what he's shown, I mean, Joe Flacco's going to give you Joe Flacco. At least you know what you're getting.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's a whole conversation in itself when it comes to whether or not Richardson should be playing right now at QB1. But I just feel like while the money's cheap, you can do it. You know what I mean? The money's cheap for him right now. He's on a rookie deal. He's only going to get better with reps. Everyone knows that. But it's hard to back a statement like that, and it is what it is. And I hate to say it, but it is what it is. Best case scenario, I digress, but it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, they drafted him knowing his strengths and his weaknesses, and they see him showing his weaknesses, and they bench him for it. What did they expect to happen? Like you said, get better with reps. That's the only way it comes. So let the kid work or not.
Yeah.
They threw him in the fire too early. If you weren't ready for him, they shouldn't have started him in the beginning of the season as rookie year. They should have let him sit and let him learn and let him get better if that's what they wanted to do. Them doing it this way is only going to mess with the kid's head even more.
Yeah. And I think it's a conversation in itself. Like, I mean, obviously, you're not in a good situation when you're drafted top 5. You're getting drafted there for a reason. You're drafting there for a reason. But I think it's all about the situation in itself. I feel like we had kind of initially thought that bringing over Peterson for T-Law was going to help him. But now they're sitting at 2-6, and it's like, what is going on? What's the problem? I think it's all about the combination. Coaching to quarterback to everything. It's critical in how you treat it. And like you said, the mental is important, especially for the quarterback. If not any other position, it's most important for the quarterback. So when you keep throwing him out there, seeing what happens, he makes a mistake, he's going to be scared to do what he naturally does, which is just be an athlete. He's out there to be an athlete. And I think it's going to just only make him more and more timid the more they keep putting him out there, keeping him in. But at the same time, like I said, you can't say what you said in a moment like that on 3rd and goal for the division. That's you can't. You just can't. And I know that he'll learn from that. And I know we haven't seen the last of him, obviously, but it's a topic of conversation.
And I just wanted to say one more point. I think to his defense as well, like just the culture of how quick these head coaching jobs over the recent years have been just flying around, because if they don't win right now, they're no good.
Yeah.
It puts the head coach in a compromise too. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks get 1, 2, 3 seasons of just horrible football, but they knew what the other end looked like. I just think that's a dying breed. I mean, if you don't win now in this league today, you're gone.
That's a good point, Jay.
100%. And
That's what I was thinking.
to allude to that, I think I remember Steichen saying in the press conference that it's hard for me right now because this is not a 100% decision as far as the team, coaching staff, upper management, but I feel like this is the
Yeah.
best position for us to make something shake. So no, it's something we're gonna be looking at for a while now. The more and more these quarterbacks keep getting drafted early. I mean, there was what, maybe three defensive players drafted in the first round this year. So
Shout out
it's
Quinn.
wild. It's wild. Um, I like that though. I do like how what y'all are saying as far as the AFC is concerned. I do think that the AFC Northwise, the Steelers do look good. I do think the Ravens can compete, and I will not. I'm not gonna second guess Joe Burrow. Not yet. Not yet. AFC South, I would agree with what you guys are saying. I like the Broncos. I like the Chargers as well. I feel like they're kind of in the midway point of not necessarily a rebuild, but a recalibration to where obviously they get rid of a lot of their skills players. And that obviously doesn't help Herbo. Herbo's good. The Romo point is fair. I'm not going to give him that yet. I do want to see what happens with Jim. I think they're running the ball a lot more. Shout out to J.K. Dobbins. He's been killing it this year. Coming off the torn Achilles, they've been treating him well. But we'll see what happens as far as the AFC is concerned. I think if the East stays how it is, the AFC East stays how it is, where the Bills run with it, we got to talk about the Broncos. We got to talk about the Bengals. The Ravens will get one of those, but we got to talk about it. But that's good talk though. Let's move on over to the NFC. I think we'll leave the best for last. That's how we should do it. I think that's what the people will want. Um, let's talk about the NFC West, where I feel like this division right here: 4-4 Cardinals, 4-4 Niners, 4-4 Seahawks, 3-4 Rams. I think obviously we want to say the Niners should come out clean, but they got the injury bug bad in San Francisco. It does look like C-Mac should be returning after their bye week, which is huge for them, but they did lose Ayuk a couple of weeks ago for the season. Debo's been battling an illness every other week. Chi, what do you like about the NFC West? Do you think Geno Stakes can get it done? What about the Rams? They looked clean coming out of that primetime game. What do you like about the NFC West?
It's always a gritty division. Like the winner of that division is going to be like 10-7, 11-6, maybe. It's always super close. I mean, the Seahawks, even with Pete Carroll's departure, they're still playing the same game that they always have. But to your point too, I think the Rams are in a spot to heat up, and they could definitely make things interesting. I mean, the 49ers, even though they do have the injury bug, it's tough to count them out ever. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. And to what you were talking about earlier, I think this one, it's safe to say, is totally up for grabs at this point.
Taji, talk to me. Kyler's in the mix. He's been playing good ball. I think Marvin Harrison, he had about 6 catches for 111 and a tutter. Great game. What do you think?
The Cardinals are not winning this division. I think it's like she said, it's more up for grabs. The NFC is a lot more up for grabs, and I think this division more than any of the other ones in the NFC may be up for grabs. The 49ers have not started well, and we've seen in the past, just last year, when they were at full strength, they go on a 3-game losing streak to bad teams. None of them teams were good, so that doesn't mean that just when they get healthy, they're going to be okay. C-Mac's going to come back. They're going to have to figure it out. Ayuk's gone. Kittle's hurt and gets hurt, hurts his foot, hurts his this, hurts his that every other week. Debo, I don't respect Debo Samuel. He's got a sickness and he can't play. He's always hurt. There's always something with him, but he's always running his mouth. I think the Rams could still
His lungs are full of fluid. Like you about to croak on the pitch.
They gas MJ for a flu game, right? Then he better get it. Pass out on the field and go play some ball. That's all I'm saying. Debo's never healthy. He's never plays a whole season.
No, that's also super fair.
He's got he talks the most, but when the Super Bowl comes, have you ever seen him make a play in the Super Bowl? I never have. He's been to two of them. He's never made an impact play one time. So until he does that, he don't got my respect. He's an elite athlete on the football field, but he's not an elite receiver to me. Ayuk is hurt. C-Mac coming back could be huge for them, but they are not playing good football right now. They're not the 49ers I expected them to be, injuries or not. I think it's pretty much up for grabs. It's between to me, it's going to be between the Rams and the Niners who decides they want to play football. Seattle could always steal it, but they got a new coach. They're a little bit different. I don't know how they're gonna turn out. 500 for that team is not very good. I don't know if they're as capable to go on a run as the other two teams are.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah. I'd like to say that the Niners come out of this clean, but that's the safe answer, you know. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rams made some shake though, because I do think obviously they've been depleted as far as the injuries go. Aaron Donald retires. They haven't looked the same since they won the Super Bowl, and that roster was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but a dude like McVay, he came back for a reason. Like I said, he don't want to go outside. Stafford, he's a baller, has always been, always will be. He's not going outside either. So I think they're gonna make something out of nothing. I would say so. Moving on. NFC North, Battle of the North. 6-1 Lions, 6-2 Packers, 5-2 Vikings, 4-3 Bears. I like this division. Jordan Love out with a groin injury last week. So Malik Willis is gonna have to hold that down. That's gonna be interesting to see. But their defense is playing out of its mind. Shout out to Xavier McKinney coming over from the Giants. I think he leads the NFL in interceptions. Playing great ball.
Crazy.
Vikings, they were undefeated. Then they saw the Lions, who look great. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. It's my show. I do think that Sam Darnold is coming back to earth right now, as far as just how great they've been looking to start the season. I think the past two games was kind of like, okay, things are kind of coming back to reality. But I do think they have the roster to keep things afloat. It's not like Darnold has to be phenomenal to keep things going. The Bears, obviously, they took a tough one last Sunday, but they are looking better with each game. I would say Caleb Williams is looking better with each game. He had a bad game against Washington until he ultimately needed to. He had a great drive when he needed it. And then it was out of his hands at that point. But I think they can talk. Taji, talk to me. Do the Lions just run away with this division, or do the Packers, do they have something to say about this? I think it's interesting.
I think this is the most competitive division in the NFC this year because they are playing great football. They have a lot of good teams, but I think the way Detroit has been playing, they're killing teams. Like they're not even making, these are no contest games. That I think that they're the clear favorite. I think coming off the year they had last year, they've been building towards something special. And I think as competitive as it is and as good as the teams in the division are, Detroit is clearly the best team. And I think they will end up running away with this division, and they might end up finishing with the number one seed in the NFC.
It's hard to disagree with that. Chi, what do you think as far as that division's concerned? I feel like the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, they have something to say about it.
I mean, as far as the Bears go, I'm just happy that some franchise is finally starting to utilize and realize the value of having a back like DeAndre Swift is. You know, we've seen the last 2 or 3 weeks, and Coach Cicini over the course of the last how many ever years he's been in the league just sing his praises. He's an all-purpose back. He could be doing exactly what Jahmyr Gibbs is doing, maybe not at the same level because he's slightly slower, but incredibly comparable. Having him and Saquon as a 1-2 in Philly, if it was used the right way, would have been ridiculous. He's in Chicago now. The last 2 weeks, he's busting, inside zone runs for 50, 60, just making special plays. But I think holistically in that division, it's the Lions. I mean, they're putting 40, 50 on teams in the first half. They look incredibly strong. they're healthy, minus Jamison Williams having to sit for the PEDs. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the
Hutchinson
day,
as well, but it doesn't seem you wouldn't even really acknowledge that Hutchinson's gone, which is crazy to say, but they're both.
yeah, I didn't acknowledge it.
He's the reason why they won't win it all because they don't have Hutchinson, but they can still make a run. In my opinion, they need the elite pass rusher, and they're lacking that. And they're not going to have a closer when it matters most. But for the regular season, I think they should be okay.
I hear you. There's no denying that the Lions are the hottest team, I would say, in the NFL. 6-2, they defeated the Titans 52-14. I'm almost positive that Jared Goff was under 150 yards, and they still managed to score 7 offensive touchdowns.
85 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Insane.
Yeah,
insane.
crazy work.
Insane. Jahmyr Gibbs, like you said, Sonic, they called him each other Sonic and Knuckles. I think he was 11 for 127. That run, he's been having some great runs, some sliders, bro. Some sliders, just elite runs. Hard to beat. They're hard to beat right now. I do think they will keep it afloat. I don't think we've necessarily. They haven't seen anyone yet that looks like they can beat them. I would have to look at the rest of their schedule to determine if they have a worthy opponent, but I like them out of the North. Packers, it's questionable with Jordan Love out. I having Malik Willis in there is just it's a totally different team. It's a totally different team with all due respect. Vikes, I like I said, I think they're coming down to earth a little bit, but Aaron Jones is looking great over there. Jettis is obviously doing what he does. Darisaw is a huge loss in the offensive line, but didn't they trade for Cam Robinson today, I believe? Who's that? Was that the team that traded for Cam Robinson? So they're trying to keep it up. They're trying to keep it up. It's worth the talk though. I like that. NFC South. Falcons 5-3, Kirko Bangs, Buccaneers 4-4, Saints 2-6, Panthers 1-7. Little bit more space here in this division. The Bucks did look sound, but they lose Mike Evans. I'm not sure what's up with him and his hamstring. Hammies are always difficult. Unfortunately, they lose Chris Godwin, season-ending injury, so the skills are not the same in Tampa Bay. And although Baker didn't play horrible, I do think that his 2 late picks in the game last week against the Falcons showed that obviously Mike Evans and Godwin are good receivers, but they made him look better than what he's been appearing to perform like. And Baker can get the ball to people. So now that he's having some lesser weaponry, I think things could get shaky. But Taji, do we like the Falcons? What do you think about them? How they've looked with Kirko Bangs and ATL, talking about the trap, taking over the trap. He's feeling good. He's feeling at home. Paid well as such. There's going to be a 30 for 30 on that, just strictly on Kirko Bangs' contracts. There's got to be one. But talk to me, Taji's on the field. What are the Falcons good for? What do they do in this division?
I'm saying the Falcons it's a 2-horse race in that division. I mean, you see the other 2 teams at the bottom. They don't really have a chance. We also broke the Saints. They started off hot, but they're done for. I think the Bucs are done without Chris Godwin, in my opinion. And the Falcons are a good team. They have a good roster. They have a quarterback who has a lot of experience. I think that it's the Falcons' division to lose for sure. I don't think the Bucs are going to win this division. I think the Falcons, it's theirs. They have good running backs. They have a great safety tandem. They have a great running back. They're good young receivers. They got I don't know about Kyle Pitts, but he played well last week. They have weapons. They have potential to do something, and they should win this division, in my opinion.
I like that. Talk to me, Chi. What do we feel? NFC South.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with everything Taj said. Who's in second right now? The Bucs.
Bucs have 4-4. 4-4.
Yeah, I mean, they're just missing too many pieces at this point. And I like that they're involving Bucky Irvin, but I mean, one piece alone isn't gonna take you to the promised land. Those 50-50 balls go away for Baker.
Yeah.
You take away the threat of going vertical for defensive coordinator completely out of the equation. It's going to be really predictable. And I just don't know how they could maintain their production. I mean, Kate Otton's been stepping up, but I mean, how many more weeks until he has 4 guys on him? Yeah. They're daring you to beat them with somebody else. I agree with pretty much everything Tosh said.
For sure. No, we can leave it at that. I agree with you. I like seeing Kirk doing what he's doing. Good for him. Shout out Raheem Morris as well, former Washington staff. Love to see that. He's a smart mind in the football game. We'll see how it goes, though. I don't think it's as enticing or as entertaining or worth a conversation as the NFC East. I don't think I ever gave a swag of the Union, so I'm gonna go ahead and just give one here right now.
Please.
You let me know how much time I have here.
You got to talk your talk, man. It's been too long, Steve, since you've been able to say what you're about to say.
Oh, man. I love you so much. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to get emotional right now. It's middle of the week, so there's nothing too drastic to get into. But so far, I have seen some very, very great ball out of my team. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I'm 24 years young.
RG3.
Not like this. Not like this, my friend. Trust me.
Trust.
It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different in the city right now. Things are up. Obviously, people do want to compare him to RG3, but I do think that he's more calm, bro. Just simply put, I feel like Jaden's much more calmer than RG3 was in the pocket. He doesn't run unless he needs to. It's not that I felt like RG3 wanted to. That's a whole other different conversation. Let's not get into the past. That's what's going to make me emotional. We're talking about right now. Right now, the Commanders are sitting at 6-2. We squeaked a win last week. That was crazy. Obviously, the offense didn't do as much as they should have, what we've been used to be seeing throughout the season thus far. But we did win. A win is a win. We're sitting at 6-2. The Eagles are 5-2. Cowboys at 3-4. Giants at 2-6. It's very enticing because there hasn't been many NFC East in-house matchups so far this season. So things are going to be very important this back 9. Taji, we all know who you think is going to come out of this division clean, but give me a reason to consider it, if you don't mind.
To consider what? You guys beating us?
No. Make me consider why I should even think that the Eagles should win this division.
Oh, because we have a history of winning. We have a history of you guys haven't won the division in quite some time now.
2020.
2020 is a little bit ago now.
Considering where we've been. I'll shut up.
We've been going back and forth with the Cowboys for quite some time now. Our defense is starting to come along. Our offense is starting to click. We're playing great football. We've had some good wins this season. I mean, you guys got a young quarterback. You guys are playing well. You got a new head coach. You got old-ass Zach Ertz running around playing well for you guys. I'm not worried about that. All those things that we're talking about, I'm not worried about. Forbes, your first-round pick last year, we broke him last year. He's done. He can't even see the field. A.J. Brown ended his career early.
Fair.
We're playing great football. We got Super Bowl experience. Nick Sirianni's fighting for his job. Jalen Hurts is fighting against all the criticism. He went from being everybody loves Jalen Hurts, hates the Eagles, to everybody hates Jalen Hurts. We hear all the noise. We're here to win a championship. We're not here for the regular season. We're not a regular season team anymore. We're a team that's ready for the playoffs. So we are going to start clicking now. Our schedule's easier than it was last year. We're not falling apart. We're learning from the losses. Last year was the time that we were going to fall apart. This year, we're not going to do that. We are here to win. Simple as that. Our locker room is too good. Our team is too talented, and Saquon Barkley is going to make all of the difference. We are not losing this year, and we're not losing the division. That's all I got for you. I'll tell you about my young boy later, but for now, that's all I got for you.
Talk heavy. I mean, yeah, I would agree. It's definitely the Eagles' division to lose. However, as you said, Steve, I mean, the Skins are hot. So if for some outrageous reason that the Eagles go on a skid for whatever the reason may be, I don't rule the Commanders stealing the division out. But again, it's the Eagles to give to them.
And I'll give you guys your respect for what you guys are doing. You guys are definitely doing way more than I expected, but I don't expect it to continue on forever. And I think we're just hitting our stride, and I think you guys hit your stride a little early. And this is you've seen what you guys can do, and it's led by a kicker making a lot of field goals. We have had to play football to get to this point, and we're just now starting to click. That's why I feel this way.
Understandable. And I understand and heard everything you said. And most importantly, I do appreciate you giving acknowledgement because we don't get that often from you. So we're going to take that and run with it. There's no doubt about that. But that's fair. That's fair. I do think it would literally take something we've never seen in a very long time for us to stack wins. Quite simply, just keep stacking wins. It would take something I've never seen. So, it's a 1 in a million shot. But I do like how our, not necessarily naive, but blind confidence that we have this season with a lot of the young people that we have doing very good things for us. I don't really necessarily think we realize that what we're doing in the moment of right now. And I kind of hope that we can run with that, if that makes sense. Time will tell. Like I said, our offense was shaky last week. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we did not know if Jaden was going to play or not. He didn't practice all week. So reps are important. I'll always stand that, practice or on the in game. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. A game like next week, we are at the Giants. If we don't handle business, that tells me what to expect. You know what I mean? Kind of like against the Panthers a couple weeks ago. Had we not won by 40, obviously it sucks Jaden got hurt. But had we not beat them by 40, I would have been like, okay, what are we really good for this year? You know, if that makes sense? We'll see though. I'm happy though. We'll see what happens.
I'm happy that it's you guys and it's not the Cowboys anymore. That's what I'd say. I'd rather be with the Commanders. And every time we play you guys, it's a good game. It's always a fight. So you guys got a quarterback now. It's going to we can make it interesting, and I'm excited to see our game when we play you guys for sure.
Me too. Our defense is obviously going to have to come to play. I think our defense is at any given Sunday type of defense. We can either perform or we're going to let up a lot of points. But luckily, Jaden has been able to match the energy, whether it's good or bad, for the most part, which has kind of helped us win games. And it's something we've never had, a quarterback that can keep us in it. So it's hard for me to say that we don't have a shot. As long as he's upright, I think we have a chance every single game. And that's all I've been asking for a very long time. And it feels good to say that. So I'll leave it at that.
Love the faith in the rookie quarterback.
This is a little off topic, but Steve, have the Commanders officially adopted a new fight song after they no longer recognize
basically it's the same song but different verbiage, as you would assume. Hail to the Commanders. But for the most part, the chorus is the same. The middle part kind of different. But
you'd think a new song would be on the forefront with the whole entire change, no?
Yeah. One thing I think sets us apart is that we are the only team in the NFL that can strike up the band. We have a marching band in Landover, and I think that carries weight much more than our remix of a Spinrilla Hail to the Skin song that we could ask for. But it doesn't really matter. I don't really think about it. You know why? Because the Commanders are 6-2. The Commanders are 6-2. And at that, I don't care what song we sing, what jerseys we wear. We're 6-2. That's something I can't say for often. So
Yeah, that's all good football.